So we're here to show you how to solve this Sunday Stumper by Mebane called 4 corners of 4. This Hungarian Tapa will always have 3 elements shaded in each row and column, and those will get filled with digits 1 through 8. 876 is the max these 3 cells could take, which is only 21. So this looks like a sum that's so large it has to take 5 cells. 7, 9, and 2 is going to be a group that may have a 1 cell, a 2 cell, and a 2 cell group around it. And if you know Tapa very well, 1, 2, 2 is a filled clue. So we've got a 2 cell group, which is a 9 or 12. We're going to have a single cell and a double cell in the remaining spaces. And one of these cells is going to have to be a single 7. Before I go too far in the solve, I might as well take advantage of the theme and say sometimes the theme is where to look. So I've got 4 corners of 4 as the title, and these clues that are 3 rows in and 3 columns in, so therefore seeing the same spaces, look pretty important. They're going to be 1, 1, 1, 1 type clues in a Tapa, so they'll always be single digit and then white space, and actually look across them like a 3, 3, and 3. We're going to count for all the 3s in these rows, all the 3s in these columns. So there are going to be some constraints that arise as we start to fill any of them in. So let's see if any of them are near other constraints. This 822 might be a constraint, but looks like it's got a lot of flexibility. This 5 doesn't look anywhere near as free. So what you can't do is put a 5 in either of these cells or a 7. So a 3 is in one of those positions, which is going to force a 2 in the next position. And that's going to complete the 5 group. So this is probably the starting seed to look at. And then a question is, can you look at the 2 options for this corner and how it's shaded and rule one out? And just staring at this a bit, this form that's going to be the normal cross shape is going to quickly eliminate both of these cells and then is going to keep this top from having any way to stay connected. So this is not the cross, this is the set of diagonal cells. And marking those off marks these in. Around this 20, this will need to take at least 4 cells. Where this is a 2, we've got a sum of 18. The 3 going in means we need to have a 5 and a 5 and a 7. These 2 5s mean that we only have these 2 spaces for a 5, and there's a 5 in this clue, and it means there are only these 2 spaces for a 5, and there's a 5 in this clue. So we have to shade the spaces where the 5 may go so that we can actually fill it in. So it looks like we force the cross pattern in these 2 corners. And this cell can't be a 5 or 7, so this is a 3, this is a 7, this is a 5, 7, 5, 7. This 3, looking down here, we have 2 more 3s to place, so a 3 in this column, a 3 in this column, but they can't both be in these rows, so we're going to have to shade this version, which allows 2 3s to be diagonally across from each other. I'm not seeing more I can immediately do there except shade in this cell, which will extend out. This is an 8 or 22 sum. Let's come back over to this one. There's a 5 in the top or bottom. This is a 1, 7. It's a 1, 3. I think that's probably about as much as we can do to start. We've placed all the 7s in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rows, so the only place a single 7 can go is in this cell for that clue, which we talked about at the start. So this is a way we can begin the puzzle. Got a lot of things in the top row already. We've got 5 cells shaded. Notice we'll have to take a 6th or a 6th and 7th over here, so we have at least 6 up top from the left, which means over here, the 7 has to escape one of the roots. If it was here, it'd be 1, 2, 3 cells. That's going to be more than 8 in this whole row, so it can escape going up. It's got to escape going right. It means this is a 1, and this cell is not used. I now have in this row 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 shaded cells, so one of these 2 must be shaded to finish that row out with connectivity, because these groups have to connect back across it. So this is not used, so this 5 has to come up and over. 7 are now on this top row, so this is the only way with 8 cells to get everything connected. That means this is taken to be connected. It means these are taken to stay connected. This comes down this channel. If I took this cell, I'd actually isolate the whole Tapa, so this is not taken. So there are more to do right now along the top. I can look at this 31 sum. This can be as large as 4, 6, 8 in these cells. That's a sum of 18, leaves behind 13, which is 8 and 5. That's okay. This is 2, 6, 8, which is the next largest sum. That's 16, leaving behind 15, which can only be 8 and 7, but 7's already taken. So this has to be 4, 6, 8, with this being a 2. This has to be 5, 8. For this to be a sum of 12, 8 and 4 works. For this to be a sum of 9, 5 and 4 works. Looks like only 4 is allowed in this cell. Got 6, 8 coming here. Not too much more I'm seeing that stands out at this moment. Let's come along this edge. On this edge, the 17 always needs to take its center cell because 8 plus 7 is 15. We'll need to take at least 2 here. This 2, 5 also looks like a pretty limited group, and a 5 can't ever get 3 cells shaded in a row, so I can start to mark some edges like these as edges off. I can also then even say, like, I could take these 2 cells around the 17, but they're going to total as a sum of 5. I can't take the cell as well. 2, 1, 2 is no longer a valid shading. So if this is 5 plus 8, this is always taken. So around the 17, I've got to take these 2 cells for sure. That marks some more off. But the other thing I'm noting, where it's just talking about how I can't get around this clue, is this cell down here doesn't have many routes to escape except down and to the left. So it must do this. 4 and 15, the 15 is at least in 2 cells, so however I shade this, something like this or something like this, I'm taking at least 1 cell in the bottom, so I got 1 cell here plus 5 more, at least 6 accounted for, and that's probably even, I've got to take at least 1, maybe 2 around the 29 for a clue here. So I can't take 3 more, I can only take 2 more over here, which means I must always escape up this column. So that's now looking like it's putting a new constraint, and I got 6 in this space, so something that looks a little provocative. What if I don't take the cell and escape down like this? That's going to finish this whole column out, but it also means to get an 11 and 16 clue to work, this is going to look like this, but now to keep connectivity, this is going to grow out. So I can't get a 6, 7 to work around this clue if I also take those channels. So this was formed by recognizing I've got to come through this channel. A 2-cell group plus some larger cell group, I always had to take this in the other group here. And it looks like there's another deadly pattern I can quickly form if I take this cell, actually force this shading, but that now forces something like this shading. That also still puts too many cells in this left column to make the 6, 7 work out. So this can't be taken. So this is also taken. So we're starting to get a lot in this row. And that may mean it's about time to look back at this side of the grid. We can't take both of these cells. We're either going to stay connected like this, but that's 9 in this column. That's no good. So we stay connected with this cell. That means we've got 7 in this row, and we're not going to come across more than one of these. With this group coming down to be connected, we do want to think about how do we get enough cells for the rest. Maybe there's not more here, but maybe we can now think around these clues. Haven't looked at what this 2 gave me, but actually that I got this 2, it's interesting to think about it. And where this is a 3, 5, 7, remember that this 2 is going to be a digit on its own. And 33 is rather large. 8, 7, 6 is 21. 33 is always a 5-cell group. So this is a 5-cell group with a 1-cell group. So this 2 is a single cell. And where can it go? Well, 2 isn't here. It isn't here. It isn't here. Those are already above. If a 2 is here, there's nowhere else for this Tapa to connect. So it's not here or here. If a 2 is here, there's nowhere for the Tapa to connect because we'd have a white cell to the left and to the right. So I see only 2 spaces for the 2. And that means these are the only, there'll be sort of a single group in these cells. There'll be these 4 cells always taken. And these will all have to be pretty big numbers. So 8, 7, 6, 8 is 29. So these will always have to be 4 or larger. So we can mark those in if that's helpful. That means this is the 22. For better or worse, not sure how that's going to help, but we can mark that in. We can now start to think, let's think about this 415 and maybe even this 429. 29 is also a very big sum. And where we want to look at is it a 4-cell or a 5-cell sum? So if it's 4-cell, that requires 8, 7, 6, whichever group of rows are taken with another 8. So if we could put 2 8s around this clue, we could make 29 and 4 cells. There are 2 8s around this clue up top, so we can't get 2 8s down below. This is 8, 7, 6, 7, 28. We'll need to take 1 more. So there are 5 cells plus 1 cell for this clue. So just as we had over here with a singleton with 5, look at this 4. So this 2 and this 4 came together to actually force constraints down here. So these cells aren't a 4. This cell can't be a 4. One of these 4 cells is a 4, and then the unshaded cells will be around it, but these 2 cells are always shaded. That means this group is going to need to have an edge break between this, so this smaller group is here. This cell doesn't connect to the left, so it has to connect through this cell. Sorry, connect through this cell. We do need to get a valid total count of things here, and so one more cell down here will be used. If this is a 5-cell group and a 1-cell group, only one of these is white. So that means 7 cells are white, which means over here we're never taking 2 cells in a row. We take as many as 1 down here. So this cell has to be taken to get out from this space, because we can't come down like this. And also to get a 4 and a 15, this cell has to be taken. So we get this pattern in the grid. This now actually fills all the 8 clues for that row. So this space has to be marked in green. This has to come over for connectivity. This has to come up for connectivity. So this is the whole pattern that actually marks all these off. This is a 4. I've got 8 cells marked in this bottom row. So this is a 4. That means the 15 is a sum of 7 and 8. That interacts with this group up top. It means this is a 5, this is an 8, this is an 8, this is a 6. That all looks like good progress. See if we have anything more we can do. Marking this 4, 5 now means this sum has to be 12. And 7, 5 is already over in this row. So this is 4 with 8. And the 4 is already down below, so 8's to the left, 4 is to the right. So we have that for sure. This 8 now means this group down here can't be a single cell. This has to be 2 cells. So that coming up marks this off and means this 22 needs to take a very high sum around these cells. Actually, a 5 leaving behind 17 is impossible, so this must be 7 leaving behind 15, which is an 8 with a 7. So knowing that for sure gives us these digits. It means this is a 5 to the right, a 7 to the left. That 7 also forces this 3, 3, 5. This 7 sum puts in a 2. That 5 means this is a 5. And this can be a 1, 7 still, but the last 3 is over here. So those all look like good places of headway. This third row from the bottom has 8 digits marked in it right now, so this cell's unused. So this is taken for connectivity. This is taken for connectivity. We have 7 marked in this row, so we need to get one more that connects near these to get these to keep extending. But in taking that, only this one to the right lets us keep going out, and a 22 needs to be at least 4 cells long, so we shade all these in. That now puts some more constraints. We'll never reach this cell, and we'll actually also never reach this cell, but this column needs to get 8 in total, so we'll always need to take this with one of these remaining cells to go. Do we have additional spaces where we've got some limited counts? This column here with this 2 and this mark off, one of the white cells is always in this column. So we've got one white cell, so maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So everything that's not around the 2 has to be part of a shaded group. And if this were shaded, we mark both of those off. So we actually have to get this 2 to get 2 cells around this to get 8 in the space. So we got this value for sure. 2, nothing there. This cell marked off. Start of a path coming through this space. And some more we can do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This has to take this and this to get out to be 8 total. So that also looks pretty good. This has 1, 2, 3. This has 7 marked, and it has 8 to go in this column. So one more to take, but we're not taking 2 of them. And that means to stay connected, we're going to have to come through this space. Let's see, can we do even more than that? Can we come this way or that way? So we have to get an 816 group here, and a 16 will need to be 3 cells long at least, 8, 7 plus a 1. So this will always be taken to be part of the 16. And I think what will become key is if we can force an 8 to be here, we can limit a lot of spaces where a single 8 would go. We can in particular eliminate these cells. So let's look at this sum of 33 and see if there are constraints around it we can use right now. Over here, we can be as large as a 6 and kind of get down to 5 or 4. 1 looks like it's not going to be possible. If this is not taking the 8, we'd have as much as 6, 5, 7 is 18. With another 8 is 26, we need a 7 here. So this does always need an 8. And one thing to note is that this is a 5-15 group, and this 2 is going to be the 15. So the 8 is not here. This is an 8, and this is no larger than a 4-5. That actually means this is a 5 or a 6. So that looks like a great way to start and make progress. And particular right now means this cell and this cell can't be taken because they can't be 8s. And now this 8-16 is a 1 with a 3. So it's going to be this pattern, but the singleton can't be this corner. It's this corner. And these get shaded. So this gets marked off. Got another 8 we can fill in here. This has to be shaded to get this row to have 8 cells. Only one of these is taken, but I've got 7 in this space, and I can't come through and take 2 of those edges. So I'm going to have to take this channel to still stay connected. So that all looks like great progress. Where do I have some more I can do right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This looks like a good place for some more progress. And I'm going to have to take one of these and one of these to get this all to work out. Coming across, we're probably going to have some limits. I need 2 more in this row. Still got some options there. I've got like 5 to go here, but have 6 I can take. Actually, this space, I've got 7 more to take with 2 more to go. So I've got a set of columns that are almost done. And so I think if we find one more key constraint, we'll be able to make some critical headway here. And it could be thinking about how we get around the 724. It could involve, again, thinking back over here. So we've got the start of this group. I didn't mark this off. And actually, we also can't take this cell. So actually, this is where it's going to flow from. We've got all 8 in this space. So now this row I was talking about has 1, 2 taken, 6 more to go. So all of those are filled. That's got a key limitation on the 6, 7, 13, which is that it's got to have singletons for the 6 and 7. This then is taken to have this stay connected coming across. We've got 7 in this column, so we're going to have these marked off. That means this can't have another digit taken. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 1 more of these to go, but they're not all going to stay connected if we use them. Let's actually see if we can fill in some of the digits here. We got a 6, 7, 6, 7. 16 is probably a pretty hard sum. It's fairly large and doesn't have an 8 in it. If it doesn't have a 7, it's 6, 5, 4, 15. So this will need a 7, and it can't have this as a 7 or this as a 7. So this is a 7 to the left, this is a 6 over to the right. This still needs to get all the way up to 16. So 4 and 5 are the next largest digits we can still use, and they're required. So this is 4, 5 coming down. This 5 means this is a 5. That means this is 13, and this 13 could take 1 more cell to get out to be 21, but that would require it to be an 8. So this cell is always taken to still be able to get all the way up to 21, which means we're going to have to take 1 or both of these cells to make this be a valid 7 clue, but it has to take this cell to extend in, so this colors out. This is then 13, this is 8, but it can't be an 8 in a single cell, so it's an 8 in 2 cells, so I mark this off. I've got 8 already in the space. This is needed to be taken to get the right number in that column. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so we need 1 more of these cells, but we still have some options for that. I think this may be helped by looking around this clue and trying to get a valid 11 or 16 mapped in. And so 16 certainly can't be in 2 cells. So let's see if 11 can be in 2 cells. Well, it certainly has valid sums for that. 3 plus 8, but 2 3s are in this column. 4 plus 7, but 2 7s are in the column. 5 plus 6, but 2 5s are in the column. So I can mark that this must be shaded. This is not shaded. That now means I have 7 in this row, so I don't come through 2 of these edges. That actually means all of these are not usable. So this column must take this, must take this. This 24 has to take this channel and use this for connectivity. So that all looks right. That means these are marked off and this is marked in. So this is a 2. This is a 2, 3, or a 1, 4, but the 2 to the left is limiting those options. This cell has to be shaded. These have to be left unshaded. That means this is shaded for connectivity. This is shaded and this is unshaded. So we now have all the shading. So now we're just going to have a lot of math to finish this out. This is around a 6, 7. It could be a single 7, but that's in the column, so it's got to be a single 6. This still has a set of options for it, but this is something like 1, 2, 4, which is going to leave behind 6, 5, 3. So we'll come back to that. But this is a sum of 7 with 4 to make 11. So actually we know that, sorry, this is a start for this. This still is 15, and if this is 1 that puts an 8 in, that's no good. 2, 3, 4, all the way out to 6. This could be a 6, puts in a 3, that's no good. So this is an 8, puts in a 1. So the only value for the 15 is this breakdown. That means this is a 2, this is a 5. We have a 1, is this 1, 6 to finish this column? None of those known for sure yet. Let's come back to some of these sums. 24, if it had 1, would have 23 left over. 8, 8, 7 is too small, so this must be 4 to the left, 1 to the right. And this still has some limits, so this can be 7, 8, 7, 8 on its high extreme. And that's going to put 7, this would be with a 5. If this isn't taking the 7, the next largest digit for it's a 3, that's 15 with a 9. So this will always be a 15 pair with this being a 5 to get to 24. This is a singleton, must be a 7. That makes this a 1, makes this a 7. Means this is an 8, means this is a 7. Leaves behind this is a single 3. Remember, these two cells added up to 8, so this is a 5. Do we have some more we can do around that? One thing is we're now starting to make some pretty limits in this column for how we get out to 29, so I'm thinking pretty soon we'll be able to limit the sum. We do have, though, the sum has to be 8, and it's not going to be able to be 1, 7, or 3, 5 right now, so this is 2, 6, 2, 6, at least behind 1, 3 in these cells. How are we going to get to a sum of 13? We have 1, 2, 6 in this space, so this is 1, 6, 1, 2, 6, 1, 2, 6. So probably some constraints we can work around that. This is 3, 6, 8, but this has to be 6, 8. This has to be 3, so this is actually forced to be 6, 8. That leaves behind just a 2 here. It means this must be a 2, 6, 2. 7, 20, we have 11 to go with 3, 6, 8 in that column, so 3, 8 is what's up top. This 6 is what comes down to the bottom. See if that gives us anything more right away. Just looking at some of the sums we haven't maybe come back to yet. We have 1, 4, 8 left for this column. This will be 1, 4, this will be 1, 4, so this must be 8. That looks like that's going to be pretty key, because that means this is 1, 7, or 6, 2, but the 2 is already in the row, so 7 with a 1 puts up a 6. And we've got 3, 4, 5, 6 to go in the space, so this will be a 4, 6 here. This will be a 4, 6 here. We've got 3, 5, where the 3 has to be canceled by the 8 there. This will be a 5. This is a 4, 8 finishing the cell, not yet enough. We've got 1, 2, 3 in this row, but 1, 2 are here, so this is 2, this is 1, this is 3. That now leaves 2, 5, 7 for this space, but 2, 5 are in this row, so we've got 2, we've got 5. My guess is we're now limiting the sums here, and in particular, what do we have? We've got 20 with 9 more to go. And this can't be any larger than a 6, and the next one's a 3. 3 would be 3, and 3 would put a 6 here, which is no good. This can't be a 2, and if this is a 1, that's an 8. That's also no good. So this is 6 with 3. 7, 8 for that space looks fine. We have 1, 2, and 3 to finish this row. 2, 3 is already there. 2 is already here. So this 3 cancels 1, cancels 6, 1 and 3, and 1 and 4, just working off the notes. 6 and 3 with one more digit to get to 13 is a 4. This is a single 7. Got 4, 6 in this cell. 4, 6 in this cell. We have 3, 6 in this space. 3 to the left, 6 to the right. This is 7, 2, 3. This adds up to 12. So this is 4, 6, 4, 6. But there's already a 6 here. So this is 4, 6. Move the 4 over to the left. Last digit for that row is an 8. We have 1, 3, 6 to finish the space. But 3, 6 are already there. 3 is already there. So 3, 6 up below. This now has 5 and 8 to finish what it's doing. 8 here, 5 here. We have 1, 3, 6 for this whole column, and 1 and 3 are in the space, so this is 6 with 1 with 3. 1, 2, 4 up top, 1, 2 are already here, so this is 1, 2, but there's a 2 in that column. This 4 puts in the 6, puts in this 4, puts in this 8, which puts in a 7, 8, puts in a 7. This also now has a 6 with an 8. We have 1 and 4 for this row. We have 6 and 2. For this space, this must be the 2. This is a 6. This is a 2, and we have 1 and 4 to go. And we finished the grid. That was quite the workout. Hopefully pretty fun puzzle to solve. Took a lot of early Tapa constraints, really used the 4-corner theme quite well. 2 incredible ahas. This 2 and this 4 interact with these clues below, this 233 and 429, to really force the shadings. And then the Hungarian Tapa constraint got us through the rest of the middle, but not an easy puzzle in any circumstance, and hopefully you persisted through it, or some parts of this video helped you get through any step you were stuck on. So thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you again soon.